Vice President Kamala.
Go. Are you ready? Yes, it's time to make our dreams come true. Come true. No more negativity in our way. No more negativity. No more negativity. Hey, Joe and Kamala, are you ready to go? Oh, Kamala and Joe, are you ready to go to the White House? And I know you got your work cut out, ain't no doubt. It shouldn't be this bad, this nation is divided, so let's pull it all together and make things better. Pull it together, make things better and better and better and better for everybody. Better for everybody. Better for everybody. And I know you got your work cut out, ain't no doubt. It shouldn't be this bad, this nation is divided, so let's pull it all together and make things better. Pull it together, make things better and better and better and better for everybody. Better for everybody. Better for everybody. And I know you got your work cut out, ain't no doubt. It shouldn't be this bad, this nation is divided, so let's pull it all together and make things better. Pull it together, make things better and better and better and better for everybody.
I would just like to introduce myself as Limo, Limo, which is Levettes in my opinion. So most of the things coming out of my head and coming out of my mouth, it is just my opinion.
Just her
And
opinion.
I welcome all opinions, and to just let everyone know that we all have our different truths, and I welcome to hear all of your truths.
Yes.
And I think we could probably call this time here chatter time. I'm gonna drink a sip of my coffee and probably wait on a few others to chime in. But as we're just sort of gathering our thoughts, this is a historical day for my mother's sake, as much as for me, because she's 80. She just turned 80 Friday.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you.
Happy birthday.
And her concern was how it felt to her like time was reversing. That
Reversing?
what she had experienced as a child and racism and having to say yes ma'am to little white girls that were younger than her. She felt that we were going back in that time. So I saw a prayer warrior at work. And I would just like to tell Harris and Biden that if it wasn't for my praying mama, they would not be in office today.
No, that's good.
Oh, wait. Okay. All right.
Well, so for our senior citizens, particularly our Black senior citizens, you know, and they have felt a brunt of this pandemic. You know, it's hit our family, and when you think about 4,000 people dying a day, you know, my mom, she referenced that to me today. You know, she was saying that she just can't even imagine that many people dying a day. And so, you know, I'm in a humble space right now, you know, that I'm above the dirt.
Right, that's right. Naima, you were saying, I'm sorry, Levette, she was making a statement before you came on. What were you saying?
Well, of course, those who watched the speech, I think we did get a chance to get a feel of a new day. And I didn't know if Joe Biden was going to mention the insurrection.
Yeah.
Or he was going to be polite and not mention it.
Yeah.
Just standard speech. I don't know if Kamala Harris was going to mention it, but they both dealt with it, and that was good.
Yeah.
So this is not going to happen again. So I'm glad that they were forceful in putting it out there and addressing it and making it clear that time is over.
Yes.
And I think we needed to hear that, because we didn't want them to just flower like, oh, America's a beautiful country, and not deal with that ugliness.
Exactly. That just was just there.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm glad they did do that.
Welcome, Peter. How are you?
Oh. And I love that our national poet laureate. What do you think about the young sister that gave the speech? That was inspirational.
The only thing I could say to her, I took a picture of her and I put it on Facebook. And the only thing I said was, Amanda Gorman, thank you. Because she covered everything so eloquently. And from a young person's perspective, she spoke from such a wise position.
Yes.
And we need people like her to not be fearful of speaking their truth, but considering all the above, and not offending one, and incorporating all, from single mothers to our movement to being Black and dark skinned, and it was a warning, because I took offense to the entertainment. And I questioned my mom, right? And I said, because as she was watching, I said, I sound very bitter. And my mom said, yes, you do. Because I was like, all right, now I see Lady Gaga. All right, who's next? And then I was like, Jennifer Lopez. Okay. And so at that point, I was saying to my mom that they could have chosen some Black folks to come and entertain. And so at that point, that's when I asked if I was bitter. And she said yes. And as soon as she said yes, Jennifer Lopez started to speak in Spanish. And I said, you see, Mom, I said, when she speaks to her culture, it's embraced. But if I embrace my racial pride, then I'm a BAW. I'm a Black angry woman. So she's allowed to embrace her culture and to uplift her people. But when we speak from a certain perspective, it's looked upon negatively. Well, and I told her at that point, I said, I'm going to change that. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to stop letting my compassion and my passion for my people be looked upon negatively. I'm changing that. I'm going to do something. I don't know what, but I'm going to write about it, and I'm going to tell people to stop it. Just like my mom, at that moment, she just thought I was complaining. And then on top of that, they brought in Garth Brooks. I was like, nah, I walked away. I said, nah, enough is enough. So I don't want to come across bitter, but I want this to be a position that we're in to embrace our power that put everything over the top. Black people put everything over the top. Okay. From Biden and Harris to Ornock and and Oslo.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, y'all, come on.
And so this is where we're at. And so it's like taking the bull by the horn. This is our time.
Yeah.
This is our time. So
Yes.
go ahead.
It is.
Let me say this. This is the tax doctor. My buddy Obi Warlock pointed out to me. He said, Travis, did you see what the president did? I said, no, I didn't see that part. What did he do? Well, he walked his wife around the car, opened the door for her, and let her get in. The vice president's husband opened the door for her, and she slid on the other side.
Mm.
And I'm saying, well, we have to understand that we have to show respect to our queens. No matter who your husband may be, you still a queen. And it's up to your husband to show that you his queen. Now, I didn't know if she wanted to walk around the car and let him open that door for her. But Obi pointed out, he has a lady friend who said she would not date any man who don't open the doors for her and show her that respect as a woman.
Okay.
And I said, well, that's cool. That's old fashioned, but it's still showing respect to your queen.
Okay.
Now,
I didn't get a chance to see everything because I had to do my show this afternoon. But I heard that young lady who did the poetry. She was awesome from what I heard. So we may be looking at the next Maya Angelou on our hands.
Maybe.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Okay.
I'm
Can
so
I interject?
glad.
Can I interject who she is?
Yes.
She's the first designated poet laureate for the United States.
How old is she?
She's 22.
Wow.
And she is her dream and her goal is to be president by the year 2036.
Are you serious? Oh, that's wonderful.
Now her mom is a doctor.
Okay.
And she is I think she's at Harvard.
Okay.
Okay. So
this has been her practice as a professional poet.
Okay.
And she's
sharp.
She has a good net worth. I'll put it like that. And
Yeah.
and that's her, so we're going to hear from her, and she seems so humble in her position, you know, and everyone was trying to get a hold of her.
Oh.
Everyone was trying to touch her.
That's
so
wow.
So I just want to sort of pull in a little bit on the things that we did see today.
Yes.
And one of the things that was of great importance to me was the executive orders that Biden came in. I was quite surprised to see that they came in and went right to work.
Yes.
They didn't say, well, we're going to.
They don't have no choice.
Yeah.
They don't have no choice.
Right. And so those executive orders, as I read them, there were about 17 of them.
Yeah, they started sending emails immediately. I'm like, wow. Also,
yes,
get White House mail from Biden. He just got inaugurated.
Yes, he did.
Hit the ground running.
Yes. So that was a great thing. But a lot of the executive orders that he did rolled back stuff that Trump had done, from the pipeline to the wall. That's almost like what's the song?
Trump did Barack.
You say what now?
Trump did Barack. Rolled back all the stuff that he did.
Right. And so I was thinking when they were talking about he did the wall, he did this. I say from the window to the wall, this guy is getting ready to dismantle this man's horrendous policies. But as I looked at it, I didn't want to be bitter again. But everything that I saw that was priority, again, it was DACA, it was immigration, the Muslim ban, it was the wall, it was a lot of jargon about equity and fair distribution of resources. And our president-elect at the time said that one group that he would not forget, and that was Black people, because he knows that we put them over the top. But as I looked at those policies again and executive orders, it was a flashback 4 years ago to Obama. I mean, 8 years ago, 4 years ago to Obama. Well, 8 years when he came in and started to do his executive orders. And it really, put other people first. And I felt that again, and I didn't want to dwell on it. And so I thought, in order for me not to feel like that, I'm going to be proactive, and I'm going to approach the Black Caucus from the state and from the feds and find out, or whoever we are here as a entity, we need to be proactive and go and tell them what we want. Because who's telling them what we want?
I
don't know what the Black Caucus is doing. And the thing is that what do we want? When you talk about equity and resources and looking back over, because one of them was taking 200 days to analyze unequal barriers to opportunity. And so now there's a study to find out what the barriers are. So that's a 200 days that someone's got to study. And so evidently no one has an agenda for us.
There is an agenda.
Pardon?
Matter of fact, Sister Lee from Texas, they have HR 40 is not a symbolic act. It's a path to retroactive justice. And that's dealing with the reparations bill. Now, there was an article written stating Joe Biden could send a message to Black Americans with this reparation bill. So it's got to pass the House, it's got to pass the Senate, and he needs to sign it.
You know what I think?
Go ahead.
I think we get stuck on the reparations bill, which still doesn't really identify some key things, such as who is eligible. And I think each generation.
But that's the purpose of this bill.
To study it. But in the meantime, while we're figuring those things out, there's some specifics that we need to address that I think, and it might already be some laws proposed in the books. We just may not know what our Congress people have been working on that maybe have not passed because the numbers weren't right in the Senate in order for a bill to pass. But there are a lot of economic issues that we can focus on. And if we don't pinpoint some specific legislation other than the reparations, we're going to find ourselves being angry and resentful as we see the Latino population and the South Asian population and other people getting their needs met because they're very specific about what things they need changed.
But that goes back to what the sister was saying.
Anthony, let Naima completely finish, and then we'll let you have your say.
Well, one of the things that we need to address has to do with the inequitable way that the criminal justice system, I mean, Joe Biden admitted his championing that bill years ago created a problem. Okay, what needs to be done to undo that? We need some specific legislation to undo the damage that was done. And then we need to deal with, as has been said, a lot of the inequality when it comes to the way police deal with peaceful demonstrations, the way police deal with warrants and arrests, and all of these horrendous things we've seen over the past several years with police abuse that is very much racial profiling. So those kinds of things need to be addressed on a federal level. And I think that legislation's got to come from Black people because we're the ones who are most affected. Yeah. And I know we've had some people that have presented some things on the state level here in Illinois. We need to talk to our congressmen and our senators and make sure it gets introduced on a federal level. Those are some specific things that can be put in place right now, because that reparations issue, it always ends up in a lot of controversy, and it gets us stuck to the point where we're not doing the other things that we can do to make some specific changes. And other ethnic groups are handling the things that they know are specific to their group. We can't get mad at them for doing their job. We got to do ours.
All right, Anthony. Now, what is it that HR 40 bill to you is? What is the greatest significance in it for you?
Well, I think part of the significance of HR 40, is the fact that they want to put together a commission. Now, it was pointed out to me, part of the problem with HR 40 is who all is going to be on that commission. I mean, it's okay to have a certain amount of educated folks, but then you also need some common folks to be part of that commission as well. Because everybody brings something different to the table.
That's right.
And we all know that reparations is an issue that a lot of us look at differently from a different lens. That's why Barack didn't look at reparations from the same lens that we looked at it from, because of his upbringing. He grew up in a two-tiered system.
But when you say that, Anthony, I think those kinds of statements, and I'm not telling you how to think or what to think or what to say. I hope not. But what I do believe is when we speculate on why someone took a certain action, then we can't necessarily say, well, it's because he wasn't this or that. Hold on. I didn't see HR 40. I don't know why they rejected it. Pelosi wouldn't even bring it up. So it would take Pelosi to bring it to the floor. And just like Mitch McConnell, who didn't bring stuff, was it Graham or McConnell didn't bring stuff to the floor, it will never be heard. So I think that we need to look at that bill and make sure that it is not rejected because it was something in there that was not going to fly. It was something in there that needed to be taken out or put in. Who put it together? And so I think it's enough brilliant minds, even coming through Wanda's show, that can come together and dissect that. And let's revisit it. We don't necessarily have to reinvent it, but I think 8 years ago, that when it was submitted, maybe not that many years, I'm not sure, but we might need to look at it and see how we can make sure that when it goes before a certain body, it's not rejected. And I just like to interject also, when you were talking, I agree with you about putting those commissions together, because the commission that LaShawn Ford wanted to put together, I took issue in. So it was 50 people on this commission to look into the resources, the equitable funding, And so when you're talking about bringing 50 entities together, meeting, and during a pandemic, how can we push things forward if we don't have a small think tank that's pushing this stuff out? We don't need 50 people trying to make these kinds of decisions.
Okay, Levette, let me welcome to the show. We got Peter Morris, True Morris, and we have Elizabeth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello to Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And hello, Elizabeth. How are you? My name is Lavette Haynes, and I am hosting the show tonight. My publication is called Limo, Limo, and that's Lavette's In My Opinion. And I like to welcome you.
I like that.
I
like to welcome you and Peter. We were talking about the inauguration, and one of the things that one of the questions that I did have for the group is, what did you think about it? Just the same, pretty much the same thing Wanda just said. So what did you think? What was your highlight of the day?
See, the bad thing about that is that when the inauguration took place, I was sitting in an office doing work for people who don't want to do work themselves. So I missed it. I have to get home and look at the highlights and look at the lowlights, but I missed it, the entire thing.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Do you have a computer, Elizabeth?
Yeah,
I'm quite sure. Just give it a day, and you're going to be able to see the whole thing, because that's something that you really should see. It was a very rewarding experience, and I was able to watch it with my mom, and so to see her so delighted. Can I just, Wanda knows I'm always sort of joking, but I just want to share with you what my mom said after it was all over. She said, "I'm so glad Trump is gone. That was like a bitter pill that I just threw up."
Wow.
So that shows the depth of how this man actually made her feel. And so, and this today is so much not about him, as much as it is the hope for change and where we're going and how we're going to get there, because we've sort of like just been on the ride for 4 years, not knowing, what's going to happen. And this insurrection that took place, pretty much a resurrection too for me, because it was quite revealing to know that these people came out of the woodworks, came out of their rat holes, came out of the gutters that they came out of. And I tell you, they had to come out of gutters, because I've never seen seagulls that flew over all of those people like they were a bunch of nasty rats. And so they came out, they thought that they would come out on top, but they all wound up on the bottom, because good will always outdo evil. And I just like to say, I'm so glad to be a part of this forwardness, because everything was revealed, and this country is so full of hate. Certain people, I'll say, are so full of hate that they thought that hate could overtake love. And if we move forward with love, we will come out on top. So Peter, what was your take on today?
So the little bit that I did catch, because I was at work as well, and I'm just getting here and I'm catching everything on YouTube. So I just like that he was bringing all Americans together and not singling anybody out. He was bringing Puerto Ricans, or Latinos. He was bringing blacks, white, everybody that claims to be an American for the American peoples. He's trying to bring everybody together to make us move forward from this black cloud that we had for so long. I just feel like as young people, we should really look at this. And even if we don't like Biden, because a lot of young people that I know are for Trump for whatever reason, I am in a predominant area where I'm in St. Louis, so it's predominant Trump supporters. So all of my associates are Trump's, followers or whatever.
Mhm.
I think they're trying to jump on the Biden train because he's trying to bring peace, just bring peace to everybody. And again, I think like Trump just singled a whole lot of people. So, and what I've caught from this inauguration and everything else and watching it, the little bits that I did get was just him just saying that he just wants, everybody to not have these two sides, and just don't let the politics control everybody's mind. Let's just go on as peoples, like as Americans should do. Like that's just how I feel right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And Naima, I wanted to ask you a question. What would your first executive order be and why?
I think based on the destructiveness, and I know it's very controversial, but based on the destructiveness of this police union and the contracts that they have,
Yes.
that keep them from being prosecuted for the crimes they've committed, my first act would be to abolish those police bill of rights that actually
Protect them.
to the detriment of the citizens, because they're working for the citizens, and they cannot be given that kind of destructive power where they are able to murder with impunity and for the citizens to feel safe. So it's always risky when someone acts against the military or the police or the people with the weapons, but that has to be done because, and this is the best time to do it, just based on the fact of what we saw, the kind of lawlessness that occurred, and the fact that the people that were supposed to be protecting the elected officials at the Capitol building, where were they? Absent, very mild-mannered, very timid. And you know that kind of timid response to a raging crowd would not have been allowed if those had been Black Lives Matter protests. Everybody said that.
Right.
So we saw it with our own eyes. They can be good when they want to. They chose not to be. So we need to remove the covering that keeps them able to be brutal when they want to be and not have to fear any consequences.
Yeah.
And I would like to just share with you that I don't know what state it was, but one of their perks is that they can kill in one state and then go get hired in another. So some of the states have started to track these criminals and put in, make policy that that is going to stop. So that's something that some states have pushed that will sort of stop them in their tracks. Because if you kill someone and you can go to the next state, what's to stop you from beating somebody in the head or shooting somebody, because you know that you've got carte blanche and you'll be hired somewhere else. And so just like some young people who commit crimes and know that that's going to stay with them, I mean, sometimes petty crimes. Yeah. That they can't get a job because they screwed up when they were young. And so they can't have that privilege. And that's the thing about America, is that there's so many privileges given to certain people that that kind of stuff has to change. So I agree with you 100%. And that's going to be part of us too, talking about defunding the police, but not just in an emotional way, because a lot of people took that emotionally, like you wanted to just cut off all the resources, but to take those unnecessary overtime money and all of that and put it into mental health, put it into community programs. So those are the kinds of things that's going to strengthen us to be able to give back to the community.
So I think when it comes to police and all the different lawsuits that end up being paid because of wrongful arrest wrongful convictions, brutality. The taxpayers end up paying those.
That's right.
I think those fees need to come out of the pensions of those officers. They need to pay the
Now
price.
that's a good idea, Naima.
And I bet if they paid out of their own pocket instead of they getting their pension after they killed somebody and all of that, I think if they knew they were physically going to be paying that money, that would change a whole lot.
They would think twice before they pull that trigger.
Because guess what? Guess what? When young Black boys, not just anybody that goes to jail, they have to pay restitution.
Yes.
They gotta pay. You just don't go to jail and get slapped on the hand. You got to pay restitution. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
That's
so
right.
Anthony, what was
you're talking about the immunity clause?
That needs to be removed.
How can I don't get it, because I'm a veteran. So even in war, if I kill somebody in war, I could be brought up on charges if it was in violation of the Geneva Convention.
Right.
Well, a cop can kill a 12-year-old kid and get away with it.
That has to change.
A cop can kill unarmed people, men and women, and get away with it.
Now that's part of one of the amendments. And so in one of those amendments, it refers to militia and how if they kill somebody, they are immune. So we've got to look at that policy. See, it's a lot of things that are written, and the reason that they get off is because of law. And so if we're not understanding law and demanding change of that law, we'll still be puzzled. Like, how did that happen? I knew he was going to go to jail, but somewhere in there, it gives these cops a way out. So that's something.
That's an immunity clause.
Right. And that's the policy that those are the things that we have to say, hey, listen, we figured it out. We know it's not right. We got to make policy and proposals that are submitted, because a lot of times the conversation just ends where we are, just talking about it.
Right.
Let's start to do some writing, coming together on one of these Zooms is like, hey, we got a pencil, we got a paper. Now let's get one paper ready and give it to the state. We got a new Speaker of the House. Yeah. We've got a new vice president, a new president. Let's get busy and instead of just concluding that someone's heard our voice, let's make it a written document.
Well, they just passed overwhelming, sweeping criminal justice reform in Springfield.
And we need to know about it, see? Because we need to know exactly what it is saying, because it might not be what we want.
Well, so Madeline is on the line, and
can you hear me at all?
Yeah, she with legislation, and we didn't invite
that.
Okay, all right. Let's take a quick little 30-second break. All right, everybody, just take a breather for 30 seconds. Can you do that? All right, 30 seconds. Yep.
All right. Virtual background, Madeline.
It says that you can't get fired in this city and then go work in some other city. Now, he didn't say the United States, but he did say that you can't, in Illinois, you can't work for one police department and then screw up and go to another.
Now, who was that didn't take that 30-second time out?
Oh, I wasn't talking to you all. I was talking to the person who just got my car.
Okay, all right. So now, who do we have as a guest?
Yes.
Elizabeth, and we have Margot, and we have Madeline.
Margot, welcome to the show. Madeline?
Yes.
Madeline and Margot.
Yes.
Okay. That's the two power M's tonight. Madeline and Margot. All right. My name is Lavette Haynes. Again, I'm hosting the show. My show is called Limo, Limo, and that's Lavette's in my opinion. So tonight we're just giving our opinions about the inauguration. And one of the questions that I just asked was, what was your highlight of the day for this inaugural day? Margot? Margot? Madeline?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear my little comment?
Yeah. For me, what the point, the parts of that I really enjoyed were first and foremost the young lady who did the poem.
Yes.
Her name is Amanda Gorman.
Amanda Gorman. Okay. She was absolutely off the chain. I listened to it and the way she connected everything and related it to what's going on today and so forth. I mean, she was absolutely phenomenal.
I agree 100%.
I thought she was really the best part of the entire performance.
Yes.
I did enjoy. Yeah, I enjoyed Lady Gaga, her version of that she did. That was really good. She's a good singer, so I knew she would carry her on with that. Biden's speech was good. I like the way he connected it to make it kind of a healing process, and his willingness, as he had said he was going to do. He's been doing that all along, reaching out to people who did not vote for him. So he's consistently trying to bring the country together and trying to get those who voted for Trump, who are still pissed off, and they might be mad for the next 4 years. Who knows? Maybe they'll never get over it. But, if they don't, so be it. Life goes on. Trump is going on about his business. And so they need to know that they need to do the same thing.
Right.
But, some people function like that. I'll just say this, with that whole Trump episode and how those people were just some of them were so, and you know who I thought about, and it's sad to say it, but I did. I thought about the Jim Jones thing. Those 900 people who drank that Kool-Aid.
Yes.
900 people. I mean, they followed that man like it was, the loyalty was just unbelievul.
But
here we are. You said Jim Jones walked away.
Mm-hmm.
No, he went down with them, but we don't understand this. I'm not a psychologist, so I'll give that disclaimer. So I really don't always understand why people can just be so vulnerable as to profess loyalty to someone who has issues. But, sometimes people need that for whatever the reason. And Trump knows, like he said one time, he likes the uneducated folk. Well, all those people who went to Capitol Hill that day, well, a lot of them were in fact educated people.
Yes,
they were not uneducated. So that was a different breed of folks.
Madeline, can I just interject on your comment? Because sure. I agree with you 100%. And as I do think about, like, why would someone follow someone blindly? And the Bible speaks about those kinds of people. And so, I used to watch Western movies with my dad, right? And every kind of Western movie was always this con man that came to the city with tricks, and people were gullible. And so I think the gullibleness with the people that followed this man blindly is that when you have race that directs you, racism in particular, when you have a creed, because those people came to take the country back from Black people. That's how they saw it.
Yeah.
They saw because they're poor. These white people don't have anything. And so it's like they're not fighting for resources. So what are they fighting for? Listen to their rhetoric. We are taking back our country. Who are you taking it back from? We're gonna kill the vice president. Why? Because he agreed not to steal the election. And so these people were basing their power or their need of power on a principle that could not stand on water. And so they will tuck their tails and go back into their holes where they came from. Because it was like, where did y'all come from? Who knew that it was this many of you racists that hate Black people? And so that only shows us that the unity that they had was so strong. I admire them for that. That unity was tight.
Yes.
And but not tight enough where so many of them were so despondent at what they did. They did not come there for that. All of those white folks did not come to see that. They came for the camaraderie. They came for what they thought might have been a revolution. But when they saw a lot of those people destroy the house that slaves built, that was not to be glorified by a lot of people. And one state, they said it was 4,000 Republicans that left the Republican Party. So this is a time for healing and a time for moving forward and a time for reflection. And so is Margot on the line?
Yeah.
Margot, what was your highlight of the day?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, we're gonna just Wanda, how much time do we have?
We have 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay, I did have another question, and that question is,
Somebody is playing a television.
Somebody's YouTube phone. Something is. Okay.
Okay, now this is one of my questions. If the then President-elect Biden emphasized that he would not forget the Black community, what immediate repair would you say is necessary for the Black community right now? Anyone?
Well, I think it's finances is always good. They talked about the stimulus money. I think that there needs to be an inflow of cash to those businesses that were destroyed either by the riots or shut down because of COVID. I think there needs to be not just money given so people can spend money, but some very distinct things, such as maybe forgiving the student debt. You have a lot of young people, young professionals just getting out of college and can't see their head above water because, you know, the extreme debt that it took for them to get through college, and then the economy was not in a position where they had jobs readily available. So people just being able to do basic things like start a family would really be helped by a major inflow of cash that and debt forgiveness that could stimulate the economy and also help people who might be in financial trouble just because of you know, the COVID riots and everything else that stopped the cash flow. So I think that would be an immediate thing that could be done.
Now, let me just share with you that the student debt, the student loans, they have been put on hiatus until September the 30th. So they're gonna until now they said $10,000 they're looking at deducting. And I went to my granddaughter who just graduated from Columbia College, and I was telling her about the moratorium. And so she was saying that doesn't help with the interest because the interest is still accruing.
Yes.
And I said, well, they're going to give $10,000. They're trying. And she said, looked at me and was like, that's not really helpful. And so we need to probably champion what you were saying, Naima, debt forgiveness. But if they're not getting that as documents from us, then it's just words. So let's make that one of the policies that we write up, and we make that as a demand. And if we get enough people behind what we're doing, then it's just not one person saying it. It's a nice group of people. And I've been in meetings with officials, and when they look and they see that there's not a 1,500 people behind you, they just push you to the side like you don't exist. Right. So we have to have those people that agree that in what we come up with as a policy.
People who are like mine, so they'll agree. And students all over the nation.
Exactly. So anyone else want to chime in on that question?
No, but I want to make one. This is Margot. I want to make just one note. The people that are contracted through the government to collect student loans, do you know there's no minority collectors? These are private collection agencies that are making the calls, that are sending out the letters. So I did the research to find out where they were. There's none in Chicago. So they're regional, and they're making an awful lot of money. Look at those contracts. So, we're involved in all of the money that's outstanding, but somebody needs to look at becoming a contractor with the government to help collect student loan money, since it's all over the world.
All right. I think that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure that there are some financial gurus who can do that. It's just that
it takes accountants, and it also takes people that don't mind working on the phone, start calling people. So that's what that's about. But that contract is out there, and I think it's coming up soon.
Right. All right. We're coming down on the end of this show. I appreciate everyone that, chimed in, and I hope that, pretty soon you'll be able to have a consistent kind of camaraderie with me and Limo. But Wanda, I got to ask you a question. Yes. Wanda and I have been working with a studio, Ron Prince Studio, and Wanda, yes. Can you tell them about the song?
Oh, okay. I'm going to play the song in closing. The song was written by Mr. Ralph Collins, and it was produced by Mr. Ron Prince. The singer is Mr. Josh Scott, and it's a beautiful song. So I'm going to close with that song, and I hope you all enjoy it. Here we go.
Joe Biden and his Vice President Kamala.
Are you ready?